Hello everyone, this is Yuri the Blender Magus, and welcome back. So in this part we are going to finish up creating the rest of his accessories here. But before we do that, I'm just going to save a copy of this as part 8. Okay, so first thing we're going to do actually is fix a little error that we had in the last part here. Just gonna go in and make sure all of these get selected. Okay, we have a subdivision surface turned on, so that's why it's being like that. That's actually good, I believe. I'm fairly certain. Okay, we're good. So, yeah, I just wanted to just kind of like rotate this a little bit. Yeah, I just wanted to rotate that just so that it didn't look so janky. It kind of looked a little jank there for a minute. That's a lot better. That's a lot better. So anyway, we are going to be focusing on, what are these, earrings? And his little headpiece here. So without further ado, let's get started. What we're going to do is go back, make sure your cursor is in the center here. So cursor to world origin. And then go to plane, tab GZ, bring it up. You can subdivide this like 3 times. Yeah, that's perfect. Scale it down. Click your thing there and make sure that you have all these different options checked as well. Hit 7 on your number pad. Boom. We're in the top view. We're gonna grab that edge there and delete it. Same thing with this. We're gonna go to our modifier stack and add a mirror modifier. Sorry if I'm moving a little quickly. I feel like I'm on a roll right now, and I want to at least get the creation part of the process finished before we do anything like retopology and things like that. So we can actually delete this there and hit 1. Yeah, because it kind of like circles around the head. So we'll just extrude this so that it goes around the ear. There she is. And then we'll bring that there. Boom. Alright. Click that just to make it so that it's on the surface. And this should be a loop. Is it though? It's not a loop. And we definitely want that to be a loop. So we're just gonna have to redirect these guys. So what we can do to make sure that this is a loop is separate that. We can actually just delete that. And we can bring this vert up here like that. Okay. And we can make this a face instead. Huh? You see that? So now it loops around this way. Just a little redirection trick for you for the topology. Okay. And then we can select these guys. F. Whoops, I probably did that wrong. No, I didn't. Well, then why are you being this way, my guy? Here, maybe this will help your derpiness. Well, make another face here. Whoops. And these guys have to come down anyway, so well, start making that a face as well. Yeah. We'll just start it here because this is technically where like the back of the head kind of starts, and that kind of flows nicely into itself. Oops, so you want to check for things like that. You know, you want to check for how well the topology flows into itself when you're making this kind of stuff, or making this kind of stuff. Make sure clipping is turned on. Right, now it'll make faces. There we go. We did all that so that it can make faces. And this is totally a loop, which is just what we wanted. But we didn't want to do that. Here we go. So here's a common thing that you'll run into when you're retopologizing things, is you might run into an area where there's a triangle there, and you don't really want it there. Just merge it. Don't be afraid to do that. Merge to last, and merge to last, and then we'll just add an edge loop there. Boom. Problem solved. And now you want to, you want to click those, click them in solid mode, just so that they're, you know, flush with the surface. Okay. Just like that. You want to Control R, add an edge loop there. Click on that. There we go. So you see this part kind of comes down like this. So just grab these edge loops here, or these vertices rather, not edge loops. Just grab those verts and move them like so. So about right there. Right there is good. And then just to make the edges of our object a little more consistent, we'll just extrude this part down here. F, select that, F, and there we go. So that'll flow into itself nicely. And then for even better coverage, we'll extrude these down. There we go. Whew. All right. So we're pretty much done with that part. What we need to do now is turn off our magnet there. You want to Alt S to scale this up along the normals. Okay. Yeah, we'll scale it up on the normals a little bit more, because we're going to, again, add a solidify, increase the scale. There we go. So now it's intersecting, and you want a subdiv. Boom. Actually, let's move our subdiv up. There we go. That's the kind of thing that we want there, the kind of crease. So just bring that down. Now what we want to do is, you see this part of the dome actually kind of comes back to accommodate this section here. So what we're going to do is just grab like a reasonable chunk here and just move that back a little bit. Control R to add some verts there, and we're just going to round this shape out. Okay, just round it out. Okay, something like that.
What we do here is go back.
A little something like that, yeah. Okay. And whoops. So we can actually decrease this thickness. I feel like it's a little too thick. Alright. And then we'll extrude this part down again. And we'll hit SZ0 just to flatten it, and then rotate it back to its original position. We're gonna make another loop here. We're gonna bevel it. Whoops. There we go. I honestly don't even know how I messed that up, but it's not messed up anymore, thank goodness, so we'll worry about that later. Boom, that's what we wanted to do. Now, do we want to do that, or yeah, we don't want to do that. Undo that, we actually, and you're probably going to want to kick me for this, and I don't blame you, but you can totally Shift-D to duplicate this and scale it along its normals, and we literally just did the same thing. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. And that also means that you technically could have done that for this whole thing, but we're not gonna think about that right now. We're gonna think about how we succeeded on this part. We're gonna think about how we succeeded on this part and worry about other failures later. So, we have that now, and so we're just gonna make this shape back here. And as far as I know, that's just like it's not a bean, it's like a beanbag type shape. I don't know. We'll just make it out real quick. We'll use a cube for that. Good old-fashioned cube. Cursor to world, origin, Shift A, cube. Tab into object mode, bring that up. Bring it back on the y-axis, S, Y, scale it down a wee little bit. Rotate it like so. Control R, and we can select these, delete the vertices, go and make a mirror modifier, and click clipping. Alright, so now we're ready to really go. I'm just gonna take this edge here and move it in. So I'm gonna keep remarking on this just so that, you know, hopefully I've driven the point home at this point. You see how I start off and I start moving my object and things like that with the simplest shapes that I could possibly use. Again, the reason you want to do that is because you can always add more detail later. But once the detail is there, it's very, very difficult to take it away. So you really want to, or it's really difficult to fix things and have them, you know, and if there are things that you really didn't want to change, it's really hard to bring those back to their original glory. So you really just want to work with as few faces and vertices as possible when you first start off modeling, honestly. Just in any context, whether it be sculpting, box modeling, plane modeling, or any type of technique that you're going to be using in your creation process, you really want to start off small and graduate. And this also applies to drawing, because I started off learning how to draw, and I moved to 3D later in life. So even in drawings, in fact specifically in drawing, you start off with the simplest forms that you can, and then you add more complexity to them. Okay, you always add the complexity after you get the basic shapes. So don't ever start by just, you know, going in and starting on one section and then start making the details in that section. And as soon as you finish the details in that section, then start a completely different section. No, plan out your whole thing first, and then go through and you know, do like passes of detail. You know, start one pass with the main details, then another pass with some more general details, and then another pass with more specific details, and you know, so on and so forth. So you see how we started off with like 3 edge loops in here and gradually worked our way up to this many. And that's really how you want your creative process to go in all of your creative endeavors, to be honest with you. So anyway, my ranch is over. Just add a subdivision surface to this now. Control R, bam. Control R, bam. We don't actually want to crease that. We do want to shade smooth this guy though. There we go. And this, we can crease this part as well. And then for this, we can go in here and we can, whoops. First thing I want to do, I want to edge slide this down, bring it back up. I don't actually have to edge slide it back up. I can just grab it back up. I want to edge slide this down and grab that back up. Okay. Now, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in total. At least 5 visible ones, so we'll just make 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure you try to space these out evenly, or as well as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Just making sure my eyes aren't playing tricks on me. Okay. We can go into edge mode, or I guess we're already in edge mode. Select all these edges here. We're gonna do our operation. Control B to bevel, and you already have a loop in there. That's perfect. If you don't, just move your mouse wheel up 1. Bam. You wanna click. Whoops. Click that. And that. Okay. Alt S with proportional editing off, just to scale that in a lot easier. There you go. And then you want to crease these guys. And try not to bring the edges so that they're touching another edge completely. You don't want that, because that'll create doubles, and it'll be a little difficult to edit your mesh later. You don't want things to be difficult on yourself. Actually, don't need that edge loop up there. Alright, last but certainly not least, we're just going to just fix the shape of this, and make sure you turn off connected on your proportional editing settings. There you go. This is all we want to do. It's just to move that, move this back a bit. There we go. That's what we want. Okay. And we can move this part in a little bit as well. Alright, how long have I been recording? 17 minutes. Alright, we might have some time, and we do. We'll do it. So, remember these belts? I'm just gonna take this shifty, actually. Before that. We're gonna take the center one, actually. And shifty to duplicate that. And with this selected, separate it. And tab into edit mode, make sure you're moving it in edit mode, and then you want to mirror modifier this. Perfect. So how far away are these from the face? Not that far, but okay, there we go. They're not near it. Okay, that's what you want to do, and move these bits kind of up here, like so. Okay. All right, and okay. Boom! Look at that. Look at that. So actually, let's rotate these a different way. Why? I'll show you why in a second. We can actually don't even have to put them on there necessarily. We can just bring these here. Okay. Now this part is kind of like just like a rod, so that part's generally easy to make. Make sure your cursor's still in the center there. Add a cylinder. Whoops. Change this to 12. Alright, and now don't worry about the end gun in the center there. We can just get rid of it. You can keep the door open. Alright, then you want to go and then hit Control F, grid fill that. Whoops, I guess you kind of need just one selected there. Span of 2, and that's not quite what we want. This is what we want. And then do the same thing for this bottom part here. That's what we want. Alright, so SZ, scale it up a little bit. Scale it up a little bit more. And decrease the, well, we don't have to. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, S and then Shift Z, and that'll just enable us to decrease the thickness of it without necessarily decreasing the height. And then we want to SY, flatten that out a bit. And I believe there's a cutoff point there, but it's covered with the shading. So we can bevel this. Whoops. Scale it down. Scale these down. And then bevel these. Okay. And you want to shade smooth that. And start moving it in edit mode. So just grab this. Definitely add a mirror modifier. And we can rotate this 90 degrees on the Z axis. Scale them down. Move them up, scale it down. Move them up, scale it down. Move them up. Alright. Scale it down a little bit more and a little bit more. There we go. So that'll go about right there. So we can just rotate this guy. Okay. And then we can move that this way, rotate it a little bit more. Okay, move it out, rotate it a bit more, move it back out. Okay. Alright, till you get something like that. There, that's what we want. That's exactly what we want from that. Alright. And then the last part of his accessories, or well, the last part except for this, we'll model this in another tutorial. Well, it won't be in another tutorial series, but we'll create this after we retopologize this, because once we're done creating that, we'll be ready to rig everything. So the last part of this particular part, we want to make these little cloth things here. So Shift A, plane. Whoops, not in edit mode. You want to make sure that you tab out of edit mode. Shift A, plane. Tab, you want to rotate this on the X axis 90 degrees. And you want to scale this up a little bit. And add a mirror modifier. Bring those apart. And we didn't have clipping. We don't need clipping for this. And we're just gonna actually just bring these guys up, scale it down, and we're gonna edit them from the side of the face here. That'll be easier, especially because it's cloth. You can rotate these on the Z axis a little bit. Make sure you're rotating them the right way, like that. There we go. That's what we want. And then let's bring these inside like so. Alright, rotate around the number pad. You want to rotate this a little bit more. Yeah, it's on top, so that's actually pretty good, or just okay for our purposes. To edge mode. Bring that up, and then because it's cloth, this is going to be pretty easy to modify without ruining the forms. Okay. We want to rotate this part on the Z-axis as well, because we're going to extrude these down, and we're going to extrude. We're going to not extrude. We're going to scale these bits up a little bit. Let's go back into the edge mode. And there we go. Boom. Okay, so now what you want to do is bevel this and definitely add some vertices in there, just so that it's, you know, it's a deformable thing. And we want some thickness. So we're not going to add a solidify modifier this time. We're just going to straight up extrude. And the reason we did that, oh yeah, and you might want to recalculate your normals to the outside just in case. So now focus on this area here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want there to be 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. All right. And like we've done with every bevel part, we're just gonna bevel these. All right, and we'll add our subdiv, and we'll just crease these bad boys real quick. Nice. All right, and then we're gonna shade smooth. Okay, and one more edit we can make is to move these out. Okay, well, look at that, look at that. There we go. And then we can probably, so adjust things as you see fit, but honestly, we're done. We are finished with the modeling process of our character. So that's great. So the modeling portion is done, and in the next part of this series, we will retopologize the body so that we have a better topology to work with. And after that, we'll get started texturing, and then we can rig it, and then we'll be done. So thank you guys for sticking with me on the modeling portion, and I will see you guys in the retopology portion. Have a good one.